Welcome to Channeling Wisdom with Ameed, the show that channels the wisdom of a higher dimensional, non-physical being called Ameed. We are your hosts, Marcus and Eleni, and in each episode, I ask Ameed some riveting and relevant questions that will help us all with our spiritual growth. And Marcus channels the answers. So sit back, relax, and let's get started.
It is much joy that we be in the presence of this moment, in this time, and we much enjoy the conversations that we are having in this moment. And we welcome much the questions that you have, both individually and collectively, during this shift in energy, this shift in consciousness, this shift in reality that is unfolding here on this plane. And there is much to do in this moment. There is much might seem complexity, much confusion that is ensuing in this moment. Complexity and confusion about the self, confusion about the world, confusion about the existence that you are having. And we wish to have this conversation with you in this moment about the reality of the existence.
Thank you, Ameed, for coming in today. It is something that I look forward to every single week. I'm so excited to talk to you. And rather than coming in with pre-planned questions, I really like to just choose a couple of the words that you bring up in your introductory message. And in today's message, you mentioned the word confusion. And you said that people are experiencing confusion. Can you talk to us more about what this confusion is?
There is much confusion about most things that are unfolding here on the planet. This confusion is here on a purposeful basis, in that if you are to shift into another reality of existence, then the old reality must dissolve and disappear. In the transition of this, the old is no longer in the relevance of reality, and the new existence is not yet anchored down into the practicalness of the existence. And therefore you get caught in these two opportunities, these two realities that have unfolded and are unfolding into the future. In particular, we wish to talk about the time continuum as this plays out, because we understand that this confusion causes the stress, causes the pain and the anguish, the anxiety that is being exhibited by many of you at this moment. The shift that is happening is unfolding as planned, as it would be planned to unfold. As you begin to awaken your consciousness, you begin to become more aware of the reality. You start to connect into the shift that has to happen as you expand and shift into other dimensions of reality. When you start to evolve into greater consciousness, you start to become aware of more of the reality that you have created. In this moment, there is a reality that many are awakening to and becoming concerned, creating anxiety and worry for what it is that has been created. And the struggle that is unfolding right now is to transition from one reality into the next reality. Many of you are making that shift. Many of you have altered into that consciousness, and we speak much of you in this shift. You have been an example of this shift. We have watched with much excitement at your shift, at your movement from one reality to the other reality. And is it not true that in your shift, the movement into the other reality, that you have more peace in your life?
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Just a couple of points there. The first thing is that you said that that the confusion and the anxiety on the planet at the moment is all about we're letting the old behind, and we need to leave it behind to step into the new. But during this transition process, we're confused. Like, do we still need the old? Do we not need the old? Do we, how do we get into the new without still hanging on to a little bit of the old? That's what I'm hearing you saying in terms of the confusion. And then the second point was you talked about myself moving into a new reality. And yes, I've never been so much at peace and so happy and so fulfilled. But just on that point of leaving the old behind, do you feel or know that it is completely practical? Because I feel like I've done a transition from the old, and I'm still hanging on to some old, and I'm aware of the old that I'm hanging on to. Is it possible to completely decide in this moment that we are letting go of all old in this moment? Or does it have to be a transition process?
In any moment, you can decide which reality you wish to express onto the planet that you exist in. Any moment, you can make this shift and anchor into a new reality. This is not what happens with the consciousness that you are transitioning from. The consciousness of the transition is one that holds on to the past, will not allow what has been to dissipate and to disappear, dissolve into the past moment. In the reality of infinite potential, you can shift instantly. This is not the reality that is happening for most, and this is where the anguish, the pain, the concerns, the worries come from, because until you make the shift, the unknown is not made known. You would remember in your shift, and part of the consciousness that you embrace in this moment is the unknown. Not 100% aware of what will the next moment be in my reality. Your next shift is to understand that you are the master creator of this moment, and that there is nothing to worry about because you are making the creation of the moment. This is the next evolution. This is the next shift that you will experience. It is uncomfortable for many who are not in the position to feel into this reality, to connect into the nothingness of creation. For in the void is where everything is made manifest, is the starting point of the next evolution of reality. You cannot start the next evolution being in these moments of the past. You must be in the void moment, for this is where creation is sparked from, is in the void. There is much of you who wish to hold on to the past. One thing you must understand: in the next evolution of reality, in the next dimensional shift, some of what you have created here cannot come into the next reality. There are different laws, there are different aspects, there are different requirements that you must step into if you are to step into that next evolved consciousness. One of the aspects that cannot come with you is the lack of truth. What must be expressed is the reality of who you are, all aspects of you, and there is not the place for the hiding of you, whatever that is, every part of you. In the next realities, in the next expansion of consciousness, in the next dimensions, in these next shifts, it will be more the expression of who you are. And this expression is the expression of both the positive or the negative, both of the unreal and the real. There is no place to take the hidden. There's no place to transition from the past into the future. The untruths, or the what you would refer to as the lying space. There is only the truth and the reality. The biggest truth that you are stepping into is the soul aspect of who you are, to honor and to embrace that within each person. When you embrace this soul reality, this soul aspect, which is much closer to the universal truth of who you are, where you came from, when you fully embrace this, then the focus becomes the individual, and that each individual is honored, respected, and is treated with the dignity and with the amazingness that it deserves. The creation of the human form, the experience in this theme park is one of much specialness. It is an important aspect of the universe teeming with life. And when you come to realize this, you will honor every individual, every soul that you come in contact with. The transition means that you cannot just bring the money with you. You must bring the soul aspect of the person and allow the other aspects to follow. Very much of the deception has happened. Very much of the untruth has played out. And even in this moment, there is many who would hide behind the untruth of the current experience. These are aspects of reality that cannot transition into the next dimension. You must face the reality. You must face the truth, no matter how hard or painful it might first appear. These aspects must be brought to the surface so that they can be healed, so that they can be transitioned through and past. There is much that you wish not to face, and therefore you cannot let go of that. This is where the pain and anguish and the anxiety is coming from a collective point of view, is that there's a trying to step into this next reality, but bringing with it the untruths, the aspects that do not honor the human spirit, do not honor the human soul. This is one aspect that we have in common, this soul aspect. All beings throughout the universal experience all have this concept of the soul. And this is the one uniting feature between all of us. Even though we may look different, we may sound different, we may have a different consciousness awareness, we all have the one aspect of this soul representation.
Oh, I love that. So in making sure that we are completely honest, we are completely authentic as we step into the new world, what would be just one example of the most common thing that humans are dishonest about?
We would and have observed that the most common thing that humans are not, as you say, the honest about is the fullness of who you are. There is much often hiding of the aspect of who you really are. This is part of the journey you have journeyed on over the last moments in time of fully embracing into who you are. This is where you embraced your original name. This is where the ELENI came from, is fully embracing that. This is one of the most common aspects between between each of you, and one of the key aspects that needs to shift to step powerfully into this next reality, to fully embrace and honor who you are at the most deepest level, regardless of whether that looks like a particular aspect, whether you look like the feminine or the masculine, for none of these are true. This is not the reality. You are a soul aspect, a blend of both the masculine, feminine, child aspects of reality. Everything else is just layers upon the layers overlaying this truth. So if we were to invite you, ask of you anything in this moment, it is to step more fully into that and honor that, firstly within yourself, and then express that out into the planet. There are much layers above this, many layers above this, and the ignition point for much of these layers is the not honoring of this space. When one feels like they are trapped, where they cannot express the truth of who they are, they will then express this in anger and hate and frustration. This is where a lot of the aspects we speak about that you are transitioning through are stemmed from this containment of the soul aspect of who you are. This center point of reality, where you are just the soul aspect. And if you can embrace this and allow this to be expressed on the planet, then much of the hiding, much of the untruths will be allowed to just express themselves.
Okay, so just one final question about expressing the fullness of who we are. What would be, how do we do this? How do we express the fullness of who we are?
And this is much of the questions that are shared in the space of the brain, in the what you might consider the prayer space. Many questions asked around this aspect. And we say to you, we invite you to, first of all, connect into this truth, connect into this aspect. And we find that often this is created when you are in the nothing space, in the nature space that you sometimes exist in. When you are in the nothing space, you can connect into this. When you connect into this, your natural response is to smile, is to feel into the beauty of that place. So we would invite you to connect in, to feel into this space, to spend time in the peacefulness, in the nothingness, in the quietness, for in that space you will find what we are speaking of. You will connect into it, for when there is nothing else, then you will connect into this place. Spend more time in the void, in the nothingness space, and you will find your way home to the deeper, greater, more expansive soul aspect of who you are. This is the journey that you are on. And in that, just understand that any of the other expressions that you might be connecting into is just your lostness, your distance from the soul aspect. The more distant you become, the more you will feel the anguish, the painfulness, the frustration. For in that truth, there is no frustration, there is no concerns, there is no of the pain that you experience. Spend the time in the nothingness, connect in at that level, do not associate with one thing or the other. From the soul aspect, your consciousness can expand and to grow from the center point, not from one aspect or another aspect, but just from the true aspect of who you are, the deeper expression of your reality here on the planet.
That is the challenge for all of us now, is to really step into the fullness of who we are and the beauty and magnificence of who we really are, without fear that we are going to be seen for who we really are, because who we really are is just so magnificent. And I really want to thank you, Ameed, for coming in today with this beautiful reminder and remembrance of connecting back to ourselves, to being okay with being in the void, to embracing the void, to welcoming the void, and to not wanting to know what's next, just allowing it to unfold naturally and with ease and grace. So thank you
This
so much.
is the great remembering that you have been having. This is part of the journey you have been experiencing, that journey back into the nothingness, the journey into the deeper version of who you are. And with that, you are shining more of your light. You are luminescent. You are glowing, which is often what you talk about when you are feeling what you would say beautiful. Is often people express this as the glowing. The glowing is you are spending time in the void. You're spending time in the soul aspect of who you are and honoring this space and letting go of the construct that has been created around you. It is much time to just shed this construct. There is nothing to gain in the construct any longer. It has served you well. It is not here for any more help. It needs to be dissolved.
Thank you.
Much pleasure, much enjoyment for this interaction. Much love. Hello there.
Oh, these sessions just get better and better and better and better.
Really?
Like, I really feel that the connection with Ameed is just getting stronger and stronger. And
Yay. That's good.
And interesting what she said about, she brought up honesty. And I've been meditating a lot lately, and that's what came up with for me yesterday and the day before, and some really long meditations, which is really, we cannot be dishonest about anything, no matter how tiny or how hurtful we think that message will be received by somebody else. Like this thing about being dishonest to protect someone else is just
not working.
fear.
Yeah, it is.
And it's feeding the energy of fear. We just have to be honest always. Always.
Yeah. And I think if you do drop in and come from that place, then it's going to come across okay, and it's going to be the right thing for everybody.
Yeah.
And there's so much, I don't know whether the word's dishonesty, but so much hiding stuff that is now just appearing, because it can't not, as we transition, it can't be hidden any longer. It has to come out to be cleansed. And it's not coming out to, I don't think it's coming out to hurt other people or to say people are bad or horrible and to berate them or make them pay, whatever that means, but actually just to cleanse us collectively. Because we're all here, we're here now because we all agreed to be here now. Do you know what I mean? There's some part of us that have all sort of agreed to be in this place right now. Even if you don't agree with it, even if you don't agree with things that have happened and the way governments have acted and people have acted, but at some level, we're part of that.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to point to one person and say, well, you did it. you're the horrible one. You're the one that should be punished. It's like, well, hang on a minute.
Yeah. But even in terms of like showing the world who we really are, because sometimes many times we hide that in
Totally.
case that's not okay with the other person's version of the world.
Yeah, totally. Just in case. Just in case we get struck down because of that view.
Yeah.
All views are valid. We just need to honor it.
Yeah.
Just honor it.
And
That's good.
The second part that Ameed talked about was really being okay with, in order to step into this new earth, a new world, and which is what we all want.
Yeah.
But in order
Sooner
to
the
do
better.
that, you've got to be, one, you can't take the old stuff with you. Two, you've got to be okay with not knowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really okay.
I think, yeah. Yeah. It's one thing to say, it's another thing to live it. I mean, I think you and I both journeyed through that. And it's not easy. I'm the first to say it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. But what I felt like, I'm sure maybe you felt as well, I don't know, but what I felt was it was almost the pain of staying with what you knew versus going into something you didn't know was almost overwhelming.
Too much.
That's right. It was just too much. So then it's sort of like, well, I have to step into the unknown, and it'll be okay, whatever it is.
And trust, because
just trust.
And what happened with me is that there was an expectation that because I was stepping into like a higher version of me, that I would instantly get the gratification that I used to the old way, but not is the void.
Yeah.
And it's really, that's where the learning happens, because there's no learning when you're teaching one thing. This is what I was thinking today. You're teaching one thing, and then you're teaching something else, and then your audience follows you. You have just as much apparent success. Everything is going swimmingly, and then it's like, well, what are you learning? But you go down into the, well, here I am. I've got this amazing teachings to impart to the world, but no one's coming with me, and you've got to be, and that's where you really got to get in and go, it's perfect.
Like you said, you just got to trust, regardless of what it looks like initially out in front of you, right? Because I think we get really good at projecting. If it's bad in this moment, it's going to be bad forever, or it's going to get worse or something. We project rather than it's just the moment right now, and I need the space, or I need the time, or I need something.
Is it really bad? Is it actually bad?
I mean, it's not. That's it. It's not bad.
Or is it actually really good?
Yeah, it's really good.
An opportunity to rest, rejuvenate,
totally,
to be still. Is it really good?
Totally. Yeah. I think it's a great opportunity just to be in the void and allow the next thing to appear.
Yeah, because I knew that's what happened with me when I went into the new area, and I had an expectation which wasn't fulfilled.
Right.
It was then, well, this has to be perfect. I actually need this rest. I actually need
this moment just to be.
I actually need this space. If this event was as successful as I wanted it to be, then I would have quickly done another event, and then another one, and then another one. And where's the void?
But the interesting thing is your history, which is a bit like mine, is to go, right? Bang, dig, man, let's do it. I mean, that's the old way, right? That's been the old sort of pattern, and I think we've both taken a different line now, which is I'm just letting it unfold. I'm not trying to get 1 million people on a workshop or a this or a that. I'm not trying to, do you know what I mean, make $100 million in 5 minutes. It's just like, I'm just going to let it unfold, and it'll be perfect, right? And it'll look after me, and it's kind of a different way to operate.
It's a different
for both of us.
It's a different way for all of us.
Yeah.
And we have to let
the
old way behind. It's it like Ameed said, it worked.
Sure.
It worked.
Served us well.
But it's no longer going to work.
No. Otherwise we just stay in the same dimension of reality.
Yeah.
And we don't want to be here. It's done. And I really feel like it's done now. It's time to move on. And
definitely done.
Definitely. Yay.
Thank God for that.
Yay.
Awesome.
Oh, this is great. Thank you, everybody. Thank
This
you,
is
Eleni, for
wonderful.
facilitating this. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I love these sessions. I look forward to them every single week.
Yeah, it's great.
So that's all for today's episode of Channeling Wisdom with Ameed. Thanks
Yay.
for tuning in. We hope
Yes,
you
thank you.
enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Leave us a comment, share it with your friends. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, this is
See you
Marcus,
soon.
Eleni, and
And
Ameed.
Ameed. Hey,
And thanks for
see you
listening.
soon.